FA Cup. The Observer. Sheffield Wednesday take Swansea to FA Cup 5th round replay. Sheffield Wednesday's Cameron Dawson saves a shot from Swansea City's Mike van der Hoorn during the goalless FA Cup tie at Hillsborough. Photograph. Ed Sykes. Action images via Reuters. Carlos Carvalhal said it would be okay if his Swansea City side did not reach the FA Cup quarter-finals, but his body language at the final whistle indicated that the impending replay in South Wales is less than acceptable. This is what so often happens when weakened teams with other ambitions contest cup ties with their collective mindsets half a yard off the pace. In football's version of cock-up rather than conspiracy, they end up with yet another unwanted fixture. It would have been very different had the Sheffield Wednesday substitute Lucas Ju not shot embarrassingly wide from close range. But Ju was offside anyway, and, in many ways, that academic miss was fitting. It served as a microcosm of a peculiar sort of afternoon in the weak South Yorkshire winter. Sunshine. Jamie Vardy strike enough for Leicester to see off Sheffield United. Read more. Carvalhal, of course, was making his first return to Wednesday, the club which sacked him on Christmas Eve, now busy masterminding Swansea City's extremely impressive recent revival. The Portuguese knows Premier League survival is infinitely more important than the FA Cup. He had said he was unperturbed by the prospect of potentially losing to his former championship players and sounded as if he meant it. "We'll try our best, but if we don't get to the next stage it's okay," said Carvalhal. "We're underdogs. Not because we're worse than Wednesday, but because our priority is staying in the Premier League. There'll be changes. It'll protect players. We won't take any risks." The chance to take Swansea to their first quarter-final since 1964 did not appear to cut much ice. "As a manager it would be fantastic to win a trophy, but I'm not selfish," he added. "I understand the priorities." Josh Luhuke, the Dutchman who succeeded him at Hillsborough, has been hired in the apparent hope that his significant experience in Germany's Bundesliga can help catapult Wednesday into the top tier. Luhuke, though, has started slowly. Indeed, last Tuesday's win against Derby County was his first championship victory in 6 attempts, leaving the hosts stuck in mid-table. While Wednesday surely had an incentive to aim for some cup glory, like Swansea, they seemed to have no real terror of losing and, like Carvalhal, Luhuke made 6 changes. It soon became 7 for the Welsh side when Alfie Mawson injured a knee and had to be carried out of the warm-up to be replaced by Kyle Naughton. That probably disappointed Gareth Southgate, England's manager, having presumably driven south from his Harrogate home to watch the centre half. Wednesday sought to take maximum advantage, pressing aggressively and leaving Swansea struggling to escape their own half. Indeed, Carvalhal's side survived a couple of early scares when Christopher Nordfeldt pushed Adam Reach's shot to safety and then, again, as Jacob Butterfield headed George Boyd's cross wide. Second to every second ball, Swansea seemed as disinterested as the scores of supporters who stayed away. Yet even though Hillsborough looking desperately old-fashioned these days after so many years out of the top tier was barely half full, those Wednesdayites inside this cavernous old stadium were in strong voice. The absence of the usual fear factor may have left some players lacking their customary adrenaline levels, but the blue and white clad locals did their bit to compensate. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Tom Carroll of Swansea City and George Boyd battle for the ball. Photograph. Matt West, BPI, Rex, Shuttershock. Perhaps inspired Swansea belatedly woke up and, almost imperceptibly, a good game began unfolding. Finally, Tammy Abraham, Swansea's young Chelsea loanee, striker and a player Southgate was probably watching closely, got his act together and, albeit fitfully, reminded everyone of his potential. Possibly Abraham's best cameo involved him swivelling away from a marker and feeding Wayne Routledge, whose dangerous cross was headed clear by Daniel Pudel. Then, with half-time beckoning, Carvalhal's players conjured the afternoon's outstanding chance when Cameron Dawson, Wednesday's goalkeeper, performed wonders to extend a hand and somehow tip Mike van der Hoorn's close-range, high-velocity header over the bar following Naughton's cross. It was the afternoon's first real chance and something of rarity. Accordingly, the second half featured considerable Swansea pressure, including plenty of crosses. But Carvalhal's players were consistently let down by disappointing final balls. Hats off to the Wednesday defence, who headed ball after ball clear, but the overall lack of imagination and incision largely explained why the tie regressed into a less than thrillingly spectacle. Yosof's offside miss at the death felt utterly emblematic.